everybody. I mean, if Owen's not coming, let me double check my text. I'm at a stop sign. I can do that now. Yeah, he's out for tonight. Still not up to snuff. I don't know exactly what that means. I know he was feeling sick on Friday. He missed our live game. So I assume that's what it is. So you got pulled out of the darkness, out of the Shadowfell, out of the Shadow Realm, out of the black, by your good friend, brand new friend, Chara. She created a portal just as some strange, very, very large shadow creature was kind of kicking into you guys, but you guys actually killed two of them. You did better than I thought you would. So you guys were holding your own pretty darn well. But Shara opened things up to bring you back. And the first thing she said was, it's been too long. It's been months. And we need you. So where you guys come forth will actually be within the manse, the emperor or the king, and it's going to be in a new kind of laboratory that you've never seen before. As you kind of get in there, Shara is going to tell you that this is kind of her space. Since she made it back on the boat, Major Domo Higgs, has had her running a lot of essentially groups looking for you. They've been opening up holes to the shadow, trying to find you. And obviously they had problems finding you. It has been 3.5, almost 4 months since you were last in the Prime Material. And based on some conversations, you're going to find that it's been about 3.5 or 4 months since you've been to the jungle. They're going to say basically when things started going bad was right around when you guys collapsed that ziggurat out in the jungle.
Shit went sideways.
Shit did, in fact, go sideways. So you're in Shara's laboratory with the Major Domo and about 3 or 4 guards. The guards seem a little different than the guards have in the past. Every time you see them, they seem to get a little more tight-lipped. They seem to get a little more strained, a little bit more nervous, a little bit more worried. These guys specifically look at them. And none of the guards are young. All of the guards are older.
We lost you for a sec.
Yeah.
All of the guards are older veteran individuals.
Okay. Cool.
So there you are, in this strange laboratory with the Major Domo and Shara.
Can you tell us what's been going on since we've been gone? Are there more children missing? Have there been any other strange occurrences?
The children are fine, but there's been a plague, a disease. They call it the black rot. People started coming down with it about 3 months ago. And he describes this rot that looks exactly like what the zombies did in that first room of the ziggurat. It is a black, almost leprosy-like kind of plague where your skin will eventually start to show signs of decomposition while you're still alive.
It's the ick, right?
It's worse than the ick. So the ick is kind of a mind control thing. You never notice the ick hurting a physical body. The ick was very possessive. The ick was very, mental. This is very physical. It's just killing people. No one's getting possessed. Nobody is changing minds. Nobody is doing anything weird. They're dying.
Which is, sort of worse.
Well, it is definitely worse for the common folk. Because the common folk right now are up in arms. And they tell you that the streets are almost all boarded up. People are hiding in their homes. Very few people come out even to purchase goods or shop or anything that way. different districts. The islands have gone on quarantine. The island that hosts all the temples has completely cut themselves off. They won't allow visitors.
What about us?
What about you?
With the king's
Would we be
mark,
able to get in?
will we be able to go to that island, or are they in rebellion?
No one's technically in open rebellion, but if you ask anybody on the Isle, they'll tell you that the one in charge is the Eye of the Storm, the head priest of Tempest. He's always been the religious leader of that area and of the city. But now, more or less, he's taken, I don't want to call it martial law into his own hands, but some kind of divine law into his own hands. They have priests on every dock, on every wharf and harbor, checking every boat that comes through. And they won't allow passengers.
This black rot, is there any cure?
We've had our best people in the tower working on it, but we haven't found anything that'll do much other than slow it. We have taken them into the Crystal Cavern. The Crystal Cavern is the only cure we know of.
Does it provide immunity after they've been cured, or do they get it again?
So far, we haven't seen anybody get it again, but we didn't come up with the Crystal Cavern until maybe a month and a half, 2 months ago. And most of the people that have been through the Crystal Cavern have stayed on this island, and this island is completely quarantined.
I do not have enough data to answer that question.
More or less.
Yeah.
I look at everyone else and I'm like, doesn't it seem strange that the folks that would stand the best chance at healing people, those of the Temple District, have cut themselves off?
We have people inside that say that the people in the Temple District are living relatively okay, but they don't have new outbreaks coming in. At this point, the king has always had issue with the Eye of the Storm. There's always been a certain power dynamic that's not gone well. Unfortunately, he's not the king's biggest fan.
The Eye of the Storm, is that connected to the religion of Set in any way?
It is not. The Eye of the Storm is the head priest of Tempest, god of storm.
Okay.
And you've never actually heard the term before if you've been outside of this city. It
Okay.
seems like it's kind of this guy's moniker. It seems like it's kind of this guy's name.
It's not just a title, it's his name.
A little bit of both, but yes. It sounds like that is kind of the vernacular for whoever he is.
Do we know if
I
this
gotcha.
guy's, is he also an immortal elf like the king?
He is not immortal, but he's very, very old. As far as you know, he is a human. And you're going to get a lot more of this from our feline friend here. So Locke knows a lot more about him than anybody else in the party would. He is allegedly a human, but he has lived for 200 or 300 years.
Oh, wow.
So even if he is human, definitely not a typical human.
Not a typical human, but he's not been here long enough to be considered an immortal like the king would.
Right.
He's still kind of the new money of immortality. So people are generally just waiting for him to pass.
Gotcha.
So, do we know what's causing the plague or how it spreads?
So they said that about 3 months ago, which would have been right around when you guys defeated the Beholder and the Ziggurat, the True Knight, the kind of living knight, started appearing more often in areas that had not been touched by sunlight. And everywhere that True Knight showed up, families started getting the plague. And the best way to kind of ward off the plague was to leave them out in direct sunlight. But even that just slows everything down because at the end of the day, the sun goes away, and when they're gone, the plague starts to spread again.
Does Major Domo Higgs know if magical healing, like non-crystal cavern magical healing, has any effect?
So we'll get a little meta here. He'll tell you the only thing he's seen that's worked has been greater restoration.
Okay.
Whatever the
Gotcha.
non-meta version of that could be, but
It
he said
takes a
the sunlight
ritual.
is people's best luck, and there's a daylight spell. The elves at the castle have been going around casting daylight to try to get people on board and keep people safe.
Yeah, but daylight's like a 6th or 7th level spell.
It is a big time spell.
It's
Something I'm not gonna have access
I
to.
mean, I don't. Decimus knows that it was beyond him very far, even before his transformation.
Sure.
It was well beyond my skill. Daylight is, I mean, that's not something that I would have even thought about being able to cast, even had I not been disintegrated.
So Major Domo Higgs will tell you that they've had people that have gone in this direct sunlight and then a daylight spell for 48 hours, and that has in fact cured them. But daylight's mostly cast by priests, and at this point the priests aren't particularly trusting of the government.
Can we? Do they permit papers and documents to go to the island?
We've
Like,
obviously been able to infiltrate a little bit, so I mean they'll allow some people through. But there's a rigorous test, so essentially it's just a quarantine and clearance.
You're fading out a little bit, Andy.
Having a little trouble
I kinda
hearing
can't
right now.
hear you,
Sorry.
Sorry, you have to go through quarantine and then clearance before they'll let you in. And they'll only let you in if you have a pretty good reason to be there.
And even from like orders from the king, probably not even strong enough by themselves. Then
We'll give you documentation. We'll give you papers. I just can't guarantee you that anything is going to work when you get to the wharf.
gotcha.
I was gonna say something along the lines of, could we send a letter to the Eye of the Storm, seeking aid, basically for the city?
We've done that, and he blames His Eminence, Your Highness, the King, for the plague that's beseeched the people.
It's clear the Eye of the Storm has no regard for the citizens of Talvar. He's closed off.
So the Eye of the Storm believes that the king has somehow essentially targeted lower income families with this, because the true night only gathers in places that don't see light 24/7. So your richer noble households were less affected because they didn't have those pockets of deep true night that leached out and caused the plague. So the plague is primarily affecting the middle class and the lower class. And the Eye of the Storm traditionally is a lower class kind of hero.
Gotcha.
Quite the hero.
From what you know, he's allowing sanctuary to anybody that makes it through and then leaving him on his island. But it's only for people that make it through the quarantine and then the clearance, kind of essentially the background checks.
Do we know what the quarantine process is?
You don't. He'll tell you it's some kind of divine magic, but he's really not sure what it is exactly.
Fair enough. Can we sneak onto the island?
Maybe.
I mean, I don't know that that's necessarily something that we need to do unless the king needs us to go in and infiltrate further into onto the island. I guess our main concern should probably be the plague, right?
Right. Trying to figure out its origin, see if we can cut it off.
Does Paycully know anything about the plague? Or is there like a breach between the Shadowfell and the Prime Material?
he'll tell you that everything is weaker. It's strange. Everything seems thinner. Everything seems like you might accidentally step through.
So you're not the only one crossing back and forth regularly.
I've always crossed back and forth, I think. I don't know. I'm not really sure on that, but it is easier to cross through. It is less effort for me.
Okay.
Where once it was maybe like walking through quicksand. Now it's like diving through water.
It's almost like the Shadowfell is just kind of seeping into the world at this point.
Shara kind of nods at you as you say that. Shara's been relatively quiet this whole time. Higgs has been the one talking, but as soon as you say that, she starts to nod and gets very kind of a serious face looking at.
I'm not sure that this is a great idea, so I kind of described my my shadow sight ritual to Shara. Say, do you think that would help?
It will allow you to see into the shadow. She goes, essentially, I do that all the time. That's essentially what I do.
Okay.
I can see and I can move between planes.
Okay.
When your spider tells you that things have become easier, it is like the difference between breathing air and breathing water. Once was very difficult and very dangerous has become very simple for the denizens of the Shadow Realm.
How can we bring back the light?
Major Domo looks at you. In the past, the only way we've brought back the light has been with the scepter. At this point, you gentlemen have done a great job of procuring certain pieces, but there is more we will need.
So we gotta find the rest of the scepter.
I have heard that the Eye of the Storm knows where to find a piece of the sun. The scepter you have looks fine, and you guys brought back some items. You guys asked Major Domo to go ahead and identify him for you when he came back. The amulet you brought back was actually the amulet that you needed to control the scepter. But it's missing a piece of the sun.
So that it doesn't burn you when you touch it, right?
The gloves are made to make it so you don't get burned when you touch it.
That's right.
The scepter and the amulet both house a piece of the sun, a drop of the liquid energy of what comes off of the sun. They say when Boric, the god of dwarves and forging, was originally making the weapons for the gods, sparks of the sun flew off of his anvil and fell onto the prime material plane. These sparks hold the very power of light itself. That scepter is made with one of them. The amulet you see is missing one. The gemstone place should hold a piece of that sun, but it's not there right now. If you were able to get a piece of sun to go in there, I believe you could start to use the amulet and the scepter to take back some of this darkness.
But we wouldn't be able to handle it that well without the gloves.
Without the gloves, there would be the chance of death every time you used it.
But we have the gloves.
You do not have the gloves yet.
We don't? Okay.
Yeah, we didn't find the gloves.
Looked into the gloves. All you have is the scepter and an empty amulet.
Okay. So do we know anything about where the gloves are?
I will tell you a story. When the shadow was originally cast out of this land, the king used the scepter and the amulet to push it away. At that time, he could not find the gloves. The reason you see very little of our king is his physical body was damaged. What he had to sacrifice to push the shadow back was more than most mortals are ever asked. We have no idea where the gloves are. We have never had them. We just know of their existence from a temple that was in a ziggurat on this island.
And Shara doesn't know anything about him, does she?
She looks at you. This is all new to me. I know very, very little outside of the fact that you just shown up with a very strange drow woman. And 3-4 months of your lives missing. I'm a planar traveler. I open gates, but I've also been held essentially in lockdown for decades and centuries. It has been a very, very long time since I have been able to do any of my own research.
I mean, it sounds like we need to go to the library.
The drow looks at you guys. The drow looks at you guys and goes, I believe I know where the gloves are.
Say, what?
How have you heard of these gloves?
Well, when the people of the Black took your realm and began infiltrating it, we knew there were pieces that could send us back. It'd be silly if you had all of them. How would we ever be able to come across the plains?
I mean, that's fair.
The gloves are within the Shadowfell. Legend has it, they're at in a temple on the top of a great mountain. It's all legend, mind you, but I can't imagine there's many gloves of light.
Not in the Shadowfell, anyway.
Indeed. I don't believe that you can host them. I've been told only one of pure of heart could host them. But I'm sure someone in your party would be a little less iffy than you are.
So I sort of look at Rogar. I think you could do that. If anyone among us is pure of heart, it's the paladin.
If it's to save this realm, this darkness, then I shall bear that responsibility.
I will say, I believe you guys are far too weak to go for the gloves.
What do you know it's there?
I do, but you barely escaped a brief journey through the Shadowfell, and you lost 3 months of your lives. The more powerful you become, the Shadowfell will have less of a hold on you. Clearly, right now, you are not worthy.
Yeah, I'm guessing whatever we face there is going to be similar to those creatures that we faced right before we jumped through the portal.
There will be
damn near claimed our lives.
Those creatures were made by your people. They infest our lands. They kill our people and yours indiscriminately. But to keep them at bay, if you had this piece of the sun on a necklace, I believe you could walk through the Shadow Realm without them coming for you.
So we need the necklace at its full power to get the gloves, but without the gloves, we'll die with the necklace.
The Major Domo steps up and goes, the scepter is the one that kills you.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
The neck piece, if you sun for it, will not steal your soul like the scepter. It will banish the shadow when you walk near it, but it doesn't have the same effectiveness of the scepter. The scepter is the weapon.
I gotcha. I missed that part.
There's much for you to gather. This is not an easy conversation.
Locke's just kind of been distracted through the whole conversation and kind of chewing on his lower lip, looking real nervous. Pretty clear he's not paying any attention to what is being said at all.
What's wrong with you, Locke?
I understand none of you are from Talvar, but I call Talvar my home, and I'm incredibly worried about my friends in the city. I don't know if I can go anywhere without finding out they're okay.
If your friends are without the curse, they may come to the mansion. We will keep them safe here on the center aisle.
That's incredibly generous of you.
You have been an incredibly loyal servant. The king appreciates everything you do. You are more than most would ever imagine. Kind of a backhanded compliment. Like, not the nice thing, like a super snooty compliment.
Yeah, yeah.
I've been used to those the past few months. Well, whatever it was the past few months.
Higgs is not a bard. He's clearly not like a people person. But he's warmed up to you guys okay. He's way nicer than he was when he stepped on the island.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
Yeah.
It's not saying a whole
Barely
lot.
made a name for ourselves by then.
It is saying very little.
So it almost sounds like we should probably send word to Locke's friends.
I mean,
See
if
if
you
we can
want to
get-
leave the island, you can leave the island.
I understand if none of you would like to leave this island until we figure out what's going on, but I would feel much better if I could speak to them myself and
Don't spoil the
personally
party.
deliver them here.
The Major Domo looks at you and goes, as long as they're not too far gone, the Crystal Cavern will cure them in 48 hours. So as long as they are not past that point, bring them back. We will take care of them.
Let's not split the party.
Like,
Yeah,
How
something.
contagious is the rot?
very. It is not contagious during the day at all.
And I don't remember if we mentioned it. About what time of day is it right now?
You guys actually haven't asked, and you're kind of deep in the castle, but if you ask, he'll tell you it's about 10 in the morning.
So it is daylight right now.
And you cannot contract the rot during daytime. As long as you are outside. If you step inside, if there is no sunlight touching you, you have the ability to contract the rot.
I look at everyone and put out my paws and say, I must go.
Okay. Let's go.
Should probably do that. Should we take some time in the chamber just to get ourselves sealed up? We've been pretty banged up for a while now. For months, apparently.
For months indeed. It doesn't feel that way to you, but you can see the lines of worry on Shara's face. You can see that the Major Domo has clearly not been eating as well as he was. He was always a bit of a stout motherfucker. He's got not quite skin and bones, but concerning. Probably 30 pounds down since you saw him last.
He's been worried about us. Well, not just us,
but you know, whatever. You think about however you want to think about it, brother.
Well, I would highly recommend we heal up before we go out there. We don't know what we're going to encounter there.
Sounds like a good idea.
You have the opportunity to go heal up in the Crystal Caverns. It'll take you about an hour and a half to get everybody good to go.
Yeah. Before we finish our conversation with him, I pulled out the sword of set that I found after defeating the beholder. So I know we just discussed that at the end of the session, but
Yeah. He'll tell you that is in fact a powerful sword. It says, looks like it's fallen on hard times, much like the realm, much like our people, but is a powerful sword. This was the sword that the king's paladin used to help cleanse the land. It's called Bright Fury.
Bright Fury.
Clearly, Bright Fury has seen better days. But in its heyday, it was by far the most powerful weapon in all the realm.
Wow.
They say that it radiated sunlight more than a piece of the sun most days.
How are we going to hold a piece of the sun when we find it?
Major Domo looks at you and says,
We have the amulet, don't we?
he brings back a bag. He says, this bag will hold it.
Because I don't know if we should be running around with the amulet. And that's probably a good thing to keep,
Hidden here.
yeah, with the scepter.
Plus, I don't know if we'd have. I don't know about you, but I don't have any sort of ability to be able to craft a piece of the sun back into an amulet.
Let's wait for Andrew.
I am good to go.
Can you sign out of your iPhone?
I disconnected it. I thought it would have signed out that way. Hold on.
Hang on. I got it.
Okay, cool. I can even see Steve now. Look at that. It's like we're all playing this game together.
Nice.
What is Michael's iPad?
It's my iPad, so I can actually see you guys because my computer's over there.
Fair enough. I just figured I would ask while we're talking about extra things in Zoom.
Cool.
I gotcha.
Next time we play, I shouldn't have this problem.
Right. Not a big
Nice.
deal. I was just curious.
Yeah, when you have your iPhone in Zoom, it makes everybody's like nice little cropped area that I had for them all like wonky.
Sorry about that. That will not happen regularly.
good.
I got stuck at a client event. It just took me a little bit longer than I wanted it to.
No
Hey,
worries.
it's a unique
No worries.
fun experience.
Yeah.
All right. So, Major Domo looks at you and he says, gentlemen, I have lost track of the sun. I've lost track of the pieces of the sun. It has been a long time since we've been concerned about it. But the Eye of the Storm may know where there is a piece of the sun at this point. He was an adventurer once. He's gone out there, he's done the thing, he's gotten things done. And as a priest, I believe that he'd be your best option.
And you said he was a priest of Talos, right? Not or of Tempest.
Tempest.
Not Talos.
There is no Talos in this world, but it would be the same god.
It would be the same one.
It would be the same god.
Nice.
Is there a token of the king's esteem or respect that we can bring to him? I know they're not at the on the best terms, but if we're doing business on the king's behalf and we go speak with the Eye of the Storm, I can only imagine we will not be received well.
I will have something for you. He turns around and starts talking to some people, and they head off.
I mean, we're not trying to prove that the king likes us. We're trying to prove to him that the king has good intentions.
Yes.
Yes.
Because we have the handkerchiefs or whatever that mark us as members of the king's household or whatever. So we
All
don't
right.
need something for us.
Yeah. All good. You guys go down in the Crystal Caverns. You guys kind of get yourself put together right. And you want to leave as soon as you guys are right?
I mean, yeah, we probably should.
I mean, we're burning daylight.
Yeah, sounds like we should probably get over there and try to get this figured out as quickly as we can, or at least over to Locke's friends to bring them back to the keep.
And I figure we can, while we're in the Crystal Cavern, kind of devise our plan, because we have, you said, an hour and a half. So I suppose we can work out, what we want to do. So I mean, really, where I think I need to go is the Market District, for Talon, and then I think it was the Southern Island for Tilbius at the Relentless Guild Hall.
So I just moved us over to the map. As long as we're talking about it, it'd be easier. The Relentless is definitely down here in the southernmost, and your other friends are all in the Market District.
Yeah.
They'll give you the man known as the Ram, and he will take you guys wherever you need to be.
The Rams are buddy.
Yeah.
I like
How's
that
the
they'll
Ram
give
holding
us
up these past few months?
He's got his metallic arm made out of bronze. It kind of hisses and whistles every time he moves it around, but he seems to be unaffected by plague. He seems to be okay, and he now wears a bronze helmet with ram's horns as well.
Glad to see you weren't affected by the plague,
nice.
friend.
Please tell me you still have the hair underneath that helmet.
Oh, I do. Oh, I do. No, the plague doesn't hit you much if you're on the boats. The plague is more of a landlubber problem. You stay at sea long enough, you don't see enough people to get plagued.
Glad to hear you are well.
No problems with scurvy either?
I ain't been fed this well in decades. The amount of food I get now, shit, I practically put on a half a person.
Maybe you should give some of that extra back to the Major Domo. Looks like he's put up or dropped a couple of pounds.
The Major Domo completely ignores your comment. But you will say the Ram looks like he's put on weight, but not in a bad way. The Ram looks like he's gone from an NPC to maybe a level 1 or 2 adventurer. Like he's put on some muscle. He's put on some swagger. He looks like a little bit more of a force to be reckoned with, as opposed to random Joe off the street.
He's becoming more important in the story.
He might be.
He leveled up.
He leveled up. Yeah, he clearly leveled up.
Ba-na-na-na.
Yeah, living the dream.
Sweet.
Getting that fat loot.
So where do we want to go first? Do we want to go to the market? There probably won't be very many people in the market.
Yes. Tilbius is a strong man. I believe he can take care of himself, but Talon, she's a wee lass. I worry. Her and her family. They're not the most wealthy.
Let's go rock and roll.
Do you have any method of getting the word out before we get there?
I can shout. I mean, if we get real close, they'll hear me before they see me. That's not what you meant?
Thanks,
I
man.
was referring more to see if Locke had a network that he could work through to get us information.
I mean, I can yell. Does I know?
From the Center Isle, no.
Fair point.
Get me back to the Relentless, and yes, I have people, but from here, I know just as much as you.
Fair enough.
We may be able to find more out from Tilbius, assuming he's okay. He's a man in the know.
That's a good man to know. Know and know. See what I did? Yeah.
Ram, I'm glad I didn't follow through on that bounty.
Me too.
You're fun to have around.
I'm fun to be around.
I don't have any sort of teleportation magic or anything like that that can get us there faster. We still have to take the boat.
That's fine.
I got a boat, so you guys have got a place to be. Don't worry about that.
I mean, how long is it going to take us to get to the market?
Hey, we're in the center aisle, baby. We can get anywhere. Just give me a couple hours.
We may have to find a place to hole up for the night. Unless you guys want to press on and...
We hole up on the sea, the open water. Curse doesn't touch us there.
Unless we think we can get...
Hit both places before nightfall.
No, I mean, we're definitely not getting both places before nightfall. But
He thinks you can do both places before nightfall.
Okay, cool. I thought it was going to be a longer time frame than that.
I mean, it's still late morning, so he thinks it'll be about 2 hours to get to the first spot, whatever time it takes, and then 2 hours to get to the second spot.
Okay.
So I'm not going to say it's going to be the easiest, but I mean,
It's possible.
quick moving, stuff like that, you'll probably get it done.
All right.
Well, we're wasting daylight.
Let's go.
All right. Just to show that I did in fact do it, here's Chara's study. Yeah, that's exciting, right? Ooh. Yeah, maps. Super jacked up about the maps.
I love maps.
Nice.
All right, yeah. They're going to take you out to. Do you want to go to the market district first? You had said.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm having a tough time finding Steve's token, but other than that, I got everybody. Steve, I'm really sorry. I don't know why you don't count, but apparently you count less than you should.
Where did I go?
You can just drag them onto the thing from the characters.
What? Can I really?
Yeah.
Dude, that's so much easier. Why didn't I not know that?
It doesn't keep track of his hit points and stuff, and we just healed up, so that doesn't matter.
But yeah, you guys are all at full, so I don't particularly care.
Yeah.
Okay, let me go over here. I'm going to characters. I'm going to Bertome. Dude, it gives him his original character. It doesn't give him his new look. All of you guys, the pictures that you have are your full characters, not your... Let's see what Decimus puts out. Yeah, Decimus, it gives you the original ones I selected for you.
Oh, okay.
Not the ones that you guys had made or put together or whatever you guys ended up doing.
Okay.
You can actually update those too if you go into edit on the character sheet below the portrait. There's a token area, and you can just remove that and then use selected token for whatever.
That sounds like a player thing, so you guys should get at it.
We cannot do that.
Ah, crap. Okay, I'll do it. I did find Steve, so we're good to go. So you guys get to the market district. During the day, there's definitely people out, but houses are the opposite of boarded up. They kind of mentioned that they were boarded up. It's literally the opposite. These houses have holes in them that you would never guess letting light through. Doors have been taken off their hinges. Window shutters have been taken away. Places have had, as you kind of look into places, there's mirrors that reflect sunlight all over this place. Think about like hippie prisms and shit like that. You get a lot of people selling glass prisms on the street at exorbitant prices for glass. But they look like they reflect the light in all kinds of crazy ways. You come up to the house that you guys have been to already. And there's our party. This is the house that you took, what was his name? The Lord. Hold on. Anybody going to help a brother out? No.
Oh, I'm looking.
Hold on, he's on my token page. It is Duke Blackner. Yep, perfect.
Yes.
So this is where you guys took Duke Blackner earlier in the adventure. This was a small kind of living space that your buddy here knew a couple folks that were willing to take you in. Bless you.
Andrew, you have Owen's token out there and not mine.
And not you. That is rude of me. My bad.
I guess you get to be a druid.
I mean, since he didn't show up, he gets nothing.
Baby bird.
All right, there we go.
That's me.
Am I fading?
You are. You look mildly less substantial than you did, and that's kind of the burns and the everything else. You don't seem quite as whole as you once were. You might
Your
have to
eyes
do
are
some
right.
work to become whole again.
Your eyes are right. That's all that matters. So as I approach this, the Izdara household, is there a smell of baked goods or anything? Because they're bakers. Does it smell like they're baking?
It does not.
Okay.
As you get closer to the house, it smells like herbs. Like think about like a voodoo doctor using like a big old swash of sage and other crap like that, and just kind of burning it. So it kind of has that incense kind of herbal vibe, which is very abnormal for this area.
Yeah. I'd be concerned because, especially this time of day, I would probably be smelling some of those good sticky buns.
For sure, you would.
And I'm not, so it's pretty concerning. So I'd probably walk in.
Yep, the door's literally open.
Yeah, and as I walk in, I say, Talon, are you there?
Woman in the corner looks at you and goes, "Who are you?" It is not Talon.
I am Bach. I'm a friend of Talon.
She bangs on the wall behind her a couple times. And then Talon comes out. Talon sees you and runs up and hugs you.
Baby bird.
Where have you been?
It's quite a long story. I don't even know if I can explain it, but are you okay? Are you're not sick?
I'm not. Father's sick upstairs, but my aunt came and she's been keeping the house safe.
I grab her by the shoulders and say, I must. You and your father and your aunt, you must come with us to the center island. We have a way to cure the disease.
Father's not well. You have a cure? Oh, she hugs and kisses you and she goes, "How can we get him there? How can we get him there?"
How long
We
has
have a
he
ship.
had the disease?
A long, long time. He didn't believe in it.
I shoot a glare over at Decimus. I know what you're thinking.
I'm thinking we'll do our best, but we have to go now.
She says he didn't believe in it. He refused to come downstairs. He refused to come out in the light like he should have. He kept baking. He kept staying here and baking and baking and baking. He eventually figured out that they were not wrong. So you guys go upstairs. Let me reveal some areas. Do you guys have access to your tokens?
I do not.
I was worried about
Looks like I
that.
do.
Yeah, I do.
Just me. No.
Yeah, yours came back from the original page.
There it goes. Woo! There we go.
Me Nice kitty.
Yes, but I accidentally dragged him into the dark area, and now I can't find him.
I'll save you, Steve.
There we go. I got it.
All right.
The little circles popped up around it when I got close. And
Nice.
I love it. So Talon opens the door to her father's room, and you see her father stretched out on a bed, which unfortunately is a perfect 4x4 square, so he can't actually go in the middle of it. But use your
right click on him and then go to advanced or something, and then it should say is drawing, and then you should be able to put him there.
Nice. Thank you.
Go.
All right, so there we go.
Does it look like there's light getting into the room?
No, it does. Well, I mean, yes, it does. But they have not extended the windows. The windows are basically like your medieval style poor people windows.
Mm-hmm.
So very small, not particularly wide, not letting a ton of light in.
Bubble glass.
Here and here. Barely better than like a murder slit.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Mexican margarita glass kind of glass.
Mm-hmm. That kind of glass at best. It probably hide, actually. Probably really, really inexpensive hide that's been greased. This is a very low-income area. So you're used to seeing these magical marvels everywhere you go. Not so much here. Everything that you see with like magical lampposts and stuff like that all stop at the curb. Everything on people's property, where in some of the other areas you've seen those magical lampposts continue, they don't continue here.
So as I look in the room, before even looking towards the bed, I think I would run into the room and try and bust out the glass and then look for like a mirror or something.
Not even glass. It's literally hide.
Oh, it's hide. Okay.
It's very thin membrane that's been greased to allow light through.
Okay. Well, then I would like rip that down and then see if there might be a mirror or something that I could angle light towards the bed.
These guys are in the poorest conditions you guys have seen so far.
Okay.
Yeah, you're able to do that. The mirror is not particularly clean. Think of it like a antique mercury mirror, where it's got the weird spots. You probably have a tough time seeing your whole face, but you're able to get light kind of going where it needs to go. And as soon as the light hits him, he kind of stirs.
And I would slowly approach the bed.
Yep.
And just sort of at a whisper, Mr. Izdara.
Look. I can't. We thought you were dead. We thought the plague got you first.
What were you thinking, you fool?
I had to bake. We needed money. We needed to keep the doors open to keep people coming through. I needed to keep my daughter fed. If I stopped baking, she stopped eating.
So I'm just gonna like press my back up against the door, up against the wall, and try and be as unobtrusive as possible. But I'm in the room in case Locke gets attacked.
You look like shit. How long have you been like this?
Oh, months. You look at his mouth. His mouth has black mold growing on it. So you've not really seen the rot outside of the ziggurat. It's essentially like their body has started dying and fungus has started growing over it.
That's fucking sick.
So they have become fertilizer, more or less. And he's got this big thing of mold. It looks like a cold sore the size of a golf ball, kind of growing on the side of his face. It's fuzzy. It looks absolutely awful. And about 30% of his body is covered in this black sores. And about 30 to 40% of that has green growth on it. And it's that kind of bioluminescent that you guys saw that was kind of that real pale green that those worms had in the ziggurat.
That's disgusting.
I just bow my head and turn away.
It's eating me. I can feel it.
For months.
And I peek my head over towards Decimus and
Just kind of at the door here.
And then over at Rogar.
Pastry feels like. And this greenish black sludge comes out the side of his face.
Is this what he meant by too far gone?
I don't think there's much we can do here. I know it's being.
I'm afraid not.
I can still walk. I promise I'll get up. I'll walk wherever you need me to.
Let me be the one to bring him peace.
I don't want peace. I really don't. I'll walk somewhere. I promise.
I'm going to go next to him and put my hand on Locke's shoulder. Say, friend, I know this is difficult for you. But there's nothing.
It's mostly difficult for me. I can hear you. My ears are okay. This shit isn't difficult for you. He seems to be worked up, and he's starting to move. Like he's not moving a lot, but it looks a bit like the zombies you saw last time.
How do his feet look?
They look like feet. They're not currently in shoes or anything like that. They don't look like they've ever really been in shoes.
But they're not.
They're kind of gnarly and nasty, but they're fleshy. It strikes where you keep your clothes on the most.
Decimus,
it's not shown to the sun. I'll walk.
I turn back and I say, "You knew about the sun. Why did you keep the windows? What were you thinking, you fool?"
You don't want bugs in here. I work hard for those windows. They weren't free.
Talon needs you.
I know, and I need to keep baking so she can keep eating.
Talon needs to.
And
not
you need
get
to
the
keep.
Rot.
You need to keep baking so I can have the sticky buns.
I will make you sticky buns as soon as I get up. And he stands up. This is a shocking scenario. You did not think this guy's body would take it. He stands up. And he goes, "All right, boys, let's walk." Is anybody touching him?
No.
All the way. Nope.
If you move to touch him, I'm gonna try to stop you.
I would move to help him walk.
If you move to help him walk, he will move to you.
I'm gonna come between them and try and push Locke back.
All right, then he's gonna fall on you.
Like the sick guy.
The sick guy, yeah. If you try to get in between the two of them, you're right next to the sick guy.
So I'm gonna try to keep Locke and myself away from him as much as I can. That's my
All right.
intention.
I'm gonna suggest quietly to Rogar that it might be safer if he helped him out the window.
Possibly. I say right here. Although we are on a second floor here, I'm assuming. So.
Are you gonna?
You are on a second floor here.
Locke, are
Yeah,
you gonna
but
try
there's
to
still
stop
not
me
up.
from keeping you away from
Second
him?
floor's not that high, right?
Like 10, 12 feet.
3 stories.
No, it would kind of be. I would half-heartedly be moving towards him to help him, knowing it was a terrible idea, but it just seems like the right thing to do. But any force given, any opposing force would probably keep me away.
I'm just saying this for flavor, but I'm gonna be forceful as fuck, trying to keep you away from the ick.
You succeed, apparently. So he'll get out the door. He's holding the door jamb. He actually grabs like some kind of walking stick. It looks like a crutch almost, like a really shitty crutch. And he's using that as he goes through, and he's coming towards Rogar. You're a big fella. Holy shit!
Not you
Bet you
familiar
need a
with?
lot of sticky.
I haven't lately, not in months.
What?
Hard to say.
What's
It's a
hard
long
to
story,
say?
my friend.
I'm gonna go ahead and open this window.
It opens. Yeah, super easy.
Okay. Can we open these as well?
They all open, yeah. Big bay windows there, no problem.
And get as much light in here as we can.
Tons of light floods this place. Super big time.
I took the wrong Eldritch invocation.
The light kind of hurts my eyes.
You need the light.
Where do you need the light?
It's not very comfortable, is all I'm saying.
I don't
I
care.
understand.
Let's
I
go
mean, of
outside.
course you don't care. I care. I don't know, man, the lights. I don't know about any of this.
Does he seem to have trouble, like getting to the, getting near the window?
He definitely seems to be in some kind of pain due to the light, but he does not seem to be avoiding it.
Okay. He's not actively avoiding the light.
Yep. Homegirl comes up the stairs. Oh my God, Dad, are you okay?
Talon, stay away from him.
And Talon looks like she's about to run over. She looks at you and she kind of comes here and she kind of eyes you real fast. But is he okay?
No.
Honey, I'm fine. Nothing outside won't.
Talon, he is not okay. Mr. Rezdar, you are not okay.
He has to be okay. He has to.
We're going to try our best.
If we're to do anything for him, it must be now.
Then do it. Whatever it is, just do it.
We have to take him with us back to the king's mansion.
I mean, that sounds like a fucking lovely time. Why wouldn't you have opened with that? Seems like a great way to go.
You can't touch him.
I mean, how is he going to get out of here if we don't touch him?
He's going to have to do it on his own.
He's just got a stick.
If it comes down to it, I will help.
No.
I don't need any help. You
You
guys are all leave me alone. He seems to be getting a little bit weaker as he sees the sun. You were asking earlier why the windows were not bright and everything like that. He seems significantly drained here compared to where he was in his kind of darkish room. I'll get there. Just get me to a cart. Put me on a cart.
Yeah, can we fashion a stretcher out of something or commandeer a cart?
You know, there's some tables downstairs and some blankets and sheets. You can make kind of a litter to carry him across.
Is Rogar concerned about getting a disease?
Is this something I'm immune to with my, what is it, divine health?
Are you immune to disease with the divine health?
It says immune to disease, divine health.
You feel fairly confident that if this is just a disease, you're okay?
I believe it's
This could be a curse. This could be worse, but you don't know.
I believe it specifies magical and mundane.
I need to look up the more specifics of that.
I mean, it's
I
all
just wrote
dependent on
down
how
immune
you are
disease.
confident, not me. I'm very confident about everything, literally,
All the time.
all the time.
That's how you live when you're Andrew. 100% confidence.
Every
100%
day.
of the time.
Fake it till you make it, baby.
Yeah, all this says is divine magic flowing through you makes you immune to disease. Doesn't say anything else.
I mean, you feel comfortable. You have not found a disease that you're not immune to.
That's true.
You mean
There was the ick like before I
Yeah,
was
not
third
like the
level.
last
but
level and a half since he got that.
yeah,
the entire time that we haven't seen a single disease.
Right. He has not gotten a cold since he got that ability.
But surely,
Not a single fucking cold.
But didn't like that come to him in a dream and said like, "Hey, don't worry about disease."
Sure, yeah, that's it. He's just a little crazy.
Something like that.
It does seem like with my health, if anyone is going to help him, it should probably be me.
Just get me to wherever we gotta go. I'll be fine. Just make it happen. I'm here. Put me on a cart. I can get outside. He goes to the window. He is now starting to kind of half hang out the window. You can tell this man cannot climb down a building.
Not that way.
I'll go outside. He said I gotta go out the window. The angry one said I gotta go out the window. I'm scared of him. He's angry.
Not the window. Not the window.
Wait, who's the angry one?
You.
Rick he's pointing at Rick as he's saying this.
Okay.
Rick has been the one that's kind of gotten in between him. Rick said some kind of things to Locke. He's pointing at Rick when he says the angry one.
I buy that.
I'll go out the window. Just somebody catch me downstairs.
No, that's definitely not recommended.
It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like the idea of making some sort of stretcher or something that we can carry him to the boat.
There's a table downstairs, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
The aunt says she'll go out and get sheets, and she'll be able to take kind of boards off the table and make a litter.
I'll help her with that.
Okay, yeah.
I'm a big
You guys
guy.
are able to fashion something pretty nicely. Go ahead and do you have survival or anything like that?
I'm not trained in it.
Give me a roll. See what you do. Dude, 10 is great. You make a hell of a litter.
Yay!
I'm thinking something. I remember the last time we fought guys with the ick. When we killed them, they exploded and got more ick everywhere.
You definitely remember that the zombies did that the first level of the temple.
So
How does he know that?
Because you were all at the temple.
he just
No, I mean, but you did it in that guy's voice.
he doesn't.
Oh,
know
no. I'm just enjoying saying his voice.
No.
It's very fun to me right now. I'm having a
Sorry.
lovely time with this accent.
that.
It might be my new favorite.
I was seriously considering delivering an Eldritch Blast right to that guy's face. But I hesitated because I was afraid he was going to explode and get the ick all over me and Locke.
Oh, is that all you're afraid of if you did that?
The zombies,
Son of a bitch.
the zombies had the same fungus growing on them, and they all exploded.
Yeah.
I mean, they did say if they weren't too far gone.
Okay, I promise. I'm gonna lay right here.
That's a bunch of
He
bullshit.
falls on top of the litter.
I mean, we're not really super familiar with this disease, but do we think there's anyone more far gone?
I'm not dead yet. I still walked. I got out of the room. You didn't carry me. Nobody's touched me. Nobody's touched me in years. It's very uncomfortable for me.
All throughout this, Locke has this look of dread, and as he's stumbling down the stairs, the icky man kind of lean towards Decimus and say, I don't know what too far gone means.
So,
But
go ahead.
But if this is it, I don't know if I can make the call.
So, oh shit.
Yeah, I'll believe you. Sure, whatever you say.
Nothing we do for him is going to save him. We have to make this choice, and we have to do the right thing. And I turn around and slit his throat.
Okay, so he is still conscious, so you have to roll to hit to slit somebody's throat on this. He is still awake. He is still, he got out of the room. He's not the fastest dude in the world, but he's definitely not incapacitated. He's not tied up. You get advantage because he's surprised and, sick on a litter.
Yeah.
But you got to hit him.
Crit fail.
Okay. Let me turn on advantage here real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, shit.
One of those was much better than the other.
He is very dead. You kill him in one stroke.
Well, you did get a crit fail there.
I got both extremes in the same roll.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as you do that, I will leap upon you and put a dagger to your neck.
I don't resist at all.
So where is this happening? Wasn't the litter downstairs?
The litter was here. You guys were bringing the litter back downstairs.
Oh.
You had to bring the litter up to get him. He wasn't going to walk down.
Yeah, because I was probably with the litter and trying to bring
the
it to
stairs
him.
was going to be his issue, if you will.
Gotcha. Okay,
Gotcha.
cool. I'm just trying to figure out where everything's happening.
I need to know where I needed to stand and everything.
It had to be done.
What
You
just
said we
happened?
needed to do
I'm
the
pulling
right
out my
thing.
crossbow. I'm not sure who to aim it at, but I'm pulling out my crossbow.
I thought you had magical friends. I thought you guys were heroes.
Bringing
What?
him to the
What?
island.
What happened, Locke?
You said we needed to do the right thing, Decimus. This is not it. This is not the right thing.
This was the only thing that could have been done.
I thought you guys were heroes.
I press the dagger a little harder to your neck. I don't know what happened to you, but you're not the same man.
I'm not. But I know that this plague burns like wildfire. And I know that this plague, if we bring him to the center island, will be more than we can handle. Your friend, I'm very sorry, did not want to have to do that. You said you couldn't make the call, so I made it. We can't infect the king and the entire center island for one man. As good of a friend as he was to you, we cannot do that.
He was my father. My father.
He
could
was
have done
dead before
something.
we got here.
No, he was alive in the bed. He talked to you. Living people don't talk to dead people don't talk to you. Oh my God.
Is she trying to move toward him at all?
Have you seen anyone else with the plague? You know what happens to them when they die? They get
Do we
eaten
know?
from the inside.
Yeah, he clearly wasn't eaten from the inside yet.
You didn't
was
see his
walking.
face, did you? Did you see the fungus? Take off his
I
shirt.
saw the fungus. I saw the fungus.
Take off his shirt.
Who's going to touch
Oh.
him to take off his shirt? 'Cause
I
all the crying she's doing, she is still staying about 3 feet away from him.
take the dagger that was on your neck, Decimus, and just drag it down your cheek, drawing a little blood. You're the one that will take the shirt off.
Okay. I'll go and I'll rip his shirt open.
His shirt open. He has definitely about the entire left side of him is rotten. And green stuff has started growing in certain areas. You're going to notice that where his rib cage ends, there's actually a weird depression. Like you think of somebody's stomach kind of coming in like this. His comes in like this, just really aggressively. Almost as if you were to take an ice cream scooper out of the flesh right around where his stomach was in small hollow balls, cutting out whatever might have been there.
No magic can heal this. No one can come back from this.
Dad!
I approach her.
Gary Dragon Man, I love you. She throws her arms around you.
Like that's not quite what I expected, but
She's crying, just like straight,
right.
like ugly girl cry, like straight up, like the craziest tears, etc., etc.
I'm really truly sorry.
All right.
I wish to. Is there any way I can do any sort of last rites without touching the body?
Yeah, you can say a few things. I mean, it'll be mostly ceremonial without touching and burying. But you know,
Right.
you can say some words. You're very good with that. You can
I should do
sound
that at
very
least.
official. All right, yeah. She holds you and sobs. She sobs with you. Locke, you notice she is not super interested in talking to you right now.
Yeah.
And Decimus, she is frightened of you. Like there is a fear every time she looks at you.
I'll stay
And
as unobtrusive and move slowly and try to
her
not be
aunt has
threatening.
left the house.
Is she going to come with us?
You don't know. Her aunt took off. I mean, as far as you know, she could be getting the town guard for murder. In non-disease-ridden forms, this would have been a big deal.
All
right,
I was trying to do was bring a dying man peace.
She'll go anywhere you want her to go because she is crying on your shoulder, Rogar.
All right. I feel this is all we could probably do here. Probably need to move on to the next location.
Okay. You're able to get her on the boat. She comes with you. As you guys are getting on the boat, you see a small group of armed peasants, basically. You're talking like pitchforks and fucking torches coming through, led by the ant. And the ant points at your boat as you guys take off. And the last thing you see as you leave the market district is this incredibly broken-looking group of people pointing at you, just fire in their eyes, absolute hatred. And they have the simplest of weapons. I mean, crowbars, cleavers, tools that used to do things before the world went bad. And now all of a sudden, all they can do is threaten. And they stood on the coastline as you guys drift away. Hey! Found somebody! That's great!
I'm afraid
Not
this is not
now.
the happiest of circumstances, Ram.
Oh. Were there more
Decimus.
people? I can go back and get those guys. It'll be fine. We got a big boat.
It's not that simple.
Decimus,
All right.
I understand what you did, why you did it. But aren't we supposed to be heroes? Aren't we supposed to bring the light to this world?
Aren't we supposed to destroy the darkness? He
By
was
bringing
too
the
far
light.
gone. The risk was too high.
At what cost? I know you say he's just a man. But if you take that attitude to every person we meet, how much different are you than the darkness?
I don't know. He's just a man who was infested with the rot. He was overcome. He couldn't barely walk. I wouldn't wish a death from the inside on anyone, let alone a friend. I consider you one of my friends, and someone you hold in that high of esteem obviously deserves our respect. I couldn't let him die that horribly.
But would we let him die? Or did we have the chance to save him?
We couldn't have saved him.
You don't know that.
I don't know that. But the risk was too much.
The Major Domo did say if they were not too far gone, and I can't imagine anyone being much more far gone.
Yeah, we didn't get a good description of how far gone was in terms of physical appearance.
He was pretty
Nobody
fucking far
asked.
gone.
That was not for us to judge. We could have waited an hour or two, bring him to the shore. decision could have been made there.
Would you risk the ram's life, the members of his crew, the king and the major domo? Who would you infect for your friend? Whose life is more important than his?
Black he shakes his head, doesn't really respond.
I don't like
This
this
is
either.
some heavy shit.
I don't like this either. But we have to do what we have to do. And we have to stop the plague.
You and me will never be the same.
I know.
I'll stand by your side. I'll fight for your life, but we'll never be the same.
I know. If it means the little children in the market district don't get that plague, I'm fine with it.
I'll be both of your friends, like an equal level, and it'll be just fine. Everybody will be cool. It'll be great. Hold on, we're almost to the jail area. It'll be fine.
Sorry, that was a little deep.
Yeah, this got a lot darker than I thought it would.
I mean, Decimus went through some pretty serious shit while he was in the other planes.
I love that. That was great character development. We didn't know that about Decimus. That was a great
Yeah,
move.
we still haven't had a chance to sit down with him to discuss this. Now apparently impossible to do over sticky buttons.
Seriously, everybody's friend. It'll be awesome. It'll be great. You won't need each other. You just need me. The Ram. What's up?
Brother Ram. We
The
still
Ram,
need each
I
other.
have missed you.
All right. He takes you guys over to the area where the gold hands are and where the jail is. They were all kind of in the same couple block radius, if you will. So you guys get let out, and everything seems a little less bad than the last spot. There's obviously a little bit more money here. This is a little bit more, I don't want to say corporate, but it's a little bit less terrible than the last spot was. There's a little more big business, a little more spots like that. As you guys go, I assume the first place you're going to go is going to be to the Golden Hands headquarters.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to figure out where you all are so I can copy paste you.
Yeah, I just had to move myself a little bit closer. Let's make it easier.
All right. So I apologize. I did this map before I knew how Fog of War worked, so you can see everything inside there. My bad. I just pulled this out of the archives, not realizing where it was. But here is the Golden Hands headquarters. Since Locke has such a strong idea of what's going on here, he knows where all the rooms are. He's described them all to you so well that you feel like you've been there. And I might as well not have Fog of War because you know so well how this place works.
I mean, do any of them really need to be hidden?
No, not really. Okay. All right, so you guys go through. You come through the inside, and in the main room is a gentleman who looks at you and says, "What are you here for?" There are mirrors everywhere when you get in. This place looks like it's basically been walled with mirrors.
Is it someone that I recognize as being part of the Gold Hand?
Yeah, sure. His name is Philo.
Philo, okay. Philo, I'm coming back from a long journey, and I'm here to talk to Tilvius.
Tilvius went with everybody else. He went to the jail, the prison. Commander Jacob controls the light. Keeps them all safe in the jail.
I look the warden, right? He has the light on the.
Yes, like pets. He's been able to keep the plague to a minimum in his area.
I see.
Someone always
so
mans the headquarters, but we go back there at night.
So he's okay. Everyone
okay.
is
okay. Yes. The whole guild for the most part. I don't know what Jacob does, but I saw someone that had the plague and he touched him and fire ignited from his fingers and seemed to light his wounds on fire. There were burns, but he came out okay.
Jacob was a cleric, though, right?
You don't know. Jacob was the commander of the guard.
Jail. I thought I remembered he was a cleric, but I could be wrong.
You guys had no idea of class. He had that dancing light that lived on his shoulder that he could command to go elsewhere. I mean, there was no reason to assume he was anything other than a military man.
Are you saying he's put the rot at bay?
I've seen it. He burns it out.
I glare over at Decimus.
The flesh that was rotten is destroyed. It's not for the faint of heart. Few survive if they're too far gone, but the ones that are able to live with the wounds they inflict, they survive. And Jacob's become quite the hero. People are saying he's more than a man. They're saying he's sent by the sun himself, the Adalera, the sun goddess herself.
That's incredible. I do remember the light being like the sun itself.
And you guys do remember he had kind of a strange relationship with the light. It was more than just a spell cast. He could kind of point in directions and it went places. And it was like basically like 3 balls of light that moved around with like a little bit of sentience. If you want to go to the jail, I'll take you.
Yeah, we should go to the jail.
We should at least discuss this with him.
And
it almost sounds like he's doing more good here than he would in the Center Island, but I don't know.
Is Vandor still there at the jail?
When all this stuff went bad, a bunch of the people in the dark cells somehow got out, almost as if doors in the darkness opened up. Vandor was one of the first to get out.
Son of a bitch.
Vandor's been out for probably 3 months. Maybe 2.5. It was very early on. They say it took the guards nearly a week to take back the downstairs from dark creatures. Strange, shadow-based dancing lights and evil things.
And Jacob and his men cleared it out?
Eventually, with the help of some of the Golden Hands. We're quite proficient with the blade.
Did these monsters respond to a blade?
Everything responds to a blade if you do it right.
Fair enough.
His jovial nature seems to kind of pass in a really kind of sad way every time he kind of, the bravado shakes off a little bit and he realizes where he is and what's happening. He's kind of like,
no, fuck.
Is anyone else here? Like, have we heard any other noises? We haven't seen any other people?
No, not in this building, and he'll tell you he's the only one here.
Okay.
We just keep somebody here in case anybody needs us. We kind of are a, I don't know, we're here for the people. We try to do what we can to keep the people that are still around safe and alive and all that jazz. So our services are not quite what they used to be, but they're still very much so available. And Jacob and the Golden Hand will send people out during the day to manage some of these dark creatures. Because on top of that, he'll tell you, there have been some things, some nasty dark creatures coming out of doorways in terrible buildings, snatching children, eating people, destroying homes, burning buildings. Strange little demonic imp-like things. Just absolute trouble.
Not the ick zombies. It's not the
Not the
people.
ick zombies. Something sentient.
Okay, it's
And
not
they seem to be woven out of shadow itself. And you guys saw some creatures like that as you walked through the shadow.
Are they like the ones we fought last time?
As you walk through the black, yeah.
Well, Philo, I appreciate your information. I think we need to get to the jail, unless unless you all think we should get to the Temple District now.
Let's go to the jail.
Let's head to the jail.
Maybe Jacob knows
Philo
something
tells you
about-
you'll be fine. The streets are safe. We make sure of it. Don't worry.
Maybe Jacob knows something about where the piece of the sun is.
Perhaps he has
Sounds
his
like
own
he
piece.
has. Possibly.
He's not going to be very willing to give it to us, I'm sure. But perhaps.
All right, you guys go to the jail. The jail is a huge, huge castle-like building. This thing is absolutely gigantic. You guys have kind of briefly toured through it, but most of your time was spent in the dungeons. If you remember, there was kind of a circular hole in the floor that had a circular staircase that led to a spot where they were literally still digging out prison cells for the worst of the worst, primarily arcane-based prisoners. Everything else, though, seems like a general keep. It seems very similar to the King's Castle. It seems fairly similar to every major fortification you've been to. You get to the front, and interesting thing here is there are braziers everywhere. About every 10 feet, there's a giant brazier. And the braziers all have holy markings, various religious symbols around the edges of them.
So I have a new thing called Eyes of the Runekeeper.
Mm-hmm.
Can I read any of it?
What does it do for you?
It says I can read all writing.
Sure. Yeah. This is old stuff to Adalera, so the goddess of the sun. And this is essentially, think about it like protection from evil, the spell, like a real low-level cleric spell. And it seems to you like the fire is somehow fueling the magic. So your guess on short look would be as long as there is flame in that brazier, there is magic on the pot that would work.
But it's protection. It's not like... It's definitely good-natured. It's not, something sinister.
Oh, yeah. Very, very, very whole.
Cool. That was what I was looking for.
Rogar,
Mm-hmm.
as you guys cross over, you actually get a weird feeling of calm and peace as you walk in here. You're very accustomed to things like heaven, hell, fiends, all that stuff that you can detect. You feel right away this is consecrated ground. And you're not sure you remember feeling that way the first time you came through.
So I can kind of express this to the party. It's like, something is different about this place. Something far more holy is present here than used to be.
They escort you in. They seem to know who you are. They seem to remember you, and they direct you in. And you'll go up to Jacob's office pretty much right away. He's in one of the taller spires that can kind of see over the whole facility. My friends.
Warden.
It's good to see that you're still alive.
As with you, Warden Jacob.
Oh.
It's been a rough couple months.
He goes up and he gives you guys a very generous handshake, especially with a plague around. You got to imagine people are concerned about a lot of that kind of stuff. A very generous handshake. He really grips your forearms and gives it a good pump. He holds on to it for a while. It's not subtle.
Is he trying to detect? Well, I guess I probably can't tell.
You can make an Arcana check and see if he's trying to detect anything.
Yeah, I want to see if he's like trying to detect magic or anything like that.
Don't use advantage.
I'm sorry.
You're okay. Just roll it again. I don't know which one of those counts.
Yeah. So, Arcana. 12.
12, you don't notice anything.
Okay.
But you will say that it might have been long enough pump to do a spell.
Okay.
But excellent, gentlemen. Come, sit. We have very little food, but we have plenty of water. May I bring you glasses of water?
Yeah.
What brings
Yes,
you here?
we likely won't be staying long, but we hear you've been doing, dare I say, miraculous things here.
That's very generous of people. I sold my soul. That sounds bad, I get it. But the god of protection, the triune, Adalera, Set, and Tishrid. I sold my soul to Tishrid. He gives me 1 year. I get 1 year of life before he calls me to his eternal army. And with that 1 year of life, I have certain abilities that should help.
That's incredible. That's heroic. It's
something. I will die. I will definitely die. And my soul will fight forever. Good, bad, or indifferent. I will never rest. But right now, there's so much more at stake. So many people hurt.
I wish we could all be so generous with our lives.
Not everyone gets
Pointed.
the opportunity.
Very pointed.
So I keep the darkness at bay. The braziers are from Adalera, goddess of the sun. The walls have runes from Tishrid, god of protection. And he shows you up top. They have what looks like the equivalent of spotlights. Like really bizarre kind of focus crystals. And Rogar, they have a lot of carvings that are very reminiscent of the god Set.
I gotcha.
Essentially, these keep any dark fiends at bay. I was in a bad place when we lost the dungeons. I considered killing ourselves and everyone in here. I considered giving in. But I begged Tishrid for something more. He's always been, I don't know, a favored deity, somebody I go to in times of need. I like to think he's always protected me. I keep his shield around my neck. He points at think about like a charm bracelet with a very triangular shield. So Tishrid's symbol is a shield, but it's like an upside down pyramid. So an upside down triangle. He points at that. He goes, I've always kept this around me, but I've never gave it much thought. And I begged for help. And with the knife to my wrists, a light answered me, came to me, and I made a deal. So for 1 year, this place will stand. After that, I don't know. But for 1 year, I will be a light to this world.
You have my word that I'll do everything in my power, which I hope is enough. That a year will be enough.
If you can make a year enough, I promise anyone you send here I will save. The clerics are doing the same thing. You should talk to them. They're good people. The government's not giving them a fair shot. They're just trying to keep their own safe like I am.
Do you have a way of making introductions for us? Everyone knows we're King's men, and going to the island of the clerics as King's men doesn't put us in a good position.
Fair point, my boy. Fair point. And I am a Kingsman too myself, but these days I seem to be batting for both teams. Hold on. He pulls out a scroll. He writes something in cursive, essentially very flamboyant handwriting, and then he cuts his hand. And as he cuts his hand, it seems like liquid gold pours out of his veins. And it stains the paper. The paper itself takes on this weird, bright shimmer, almost like a candlelight. They'll know this is genuine over there. They may not like it. They still consider me a king's man, but they know the gods at least talk to me. The old Eye of the Storm is about as crazy as it gets. He's paranoid. He's nervous. He won't be easy to win over.
I want to ask him about the piece of the sun.
Who are you going to ask?
Jacob.
I don't know anything about a piece of the sun. The sun comes out every day. I've not seen it in anything other than a big ball of fire in the sky.
What about that light that dances around for you?
It's funny. I never thought it would matter. It seemed like a simple parlor trick. My father always told me that we were blessed, descended from angels, as silly as that sounds. It's he kind of flickers at his shoulder and the thing kind of dances and comes to life. He goes, it's an embodiment of the positive the positive energy plane.
Positive.
It's
energy.
radiant light. It's pure radiant light incarnate. They say it's one of the last things left from our angelic heritage. Now that you look at him, he's older, he's worn, he's scarred. He has flawlessly like alabaster skin. And his white hair that you just thought was old guy hair, it might be a little bit of silver in there. And his eyes, for as old as he is, are as blue as the sky is on a perfect day.
But he's not.
You never would have guessed he was Azamar. You don't see many Azamar around here. But him saying his angelic heritage, he just has that slight hint. And again, it's not a common race. It's not something you see a ton of. The outsiders, the Azamar, the Tieflings, the Ganassi, are not a big part of your world. So it's not something you run into every day. But man, Decimus, you specifically, with all your research, this motherfucker might be part angel.
I was going to say, he's definitely not an elf, though, so that means he's Azamar. Like, I'm not going to say anything about it, but, like, he's not a human.
Azamar is kind of, I mean, again, you guys are used to some crazy races around here.
Yeah.
But
I'm a cat.
Outsider races, the ones that are extra planar, you really have seen very little of. You know very little of. So this is a kind of a strange deal for you to see, but this motherfucker looks weird now that you really think about it. He's always kind of kept himself, I mean, dressed in human clothes, looking pretty human, and he's never acted particularly different.
I mean, could have been a small Goliath or a really bulky elf or whatever.
I mean, or just a kind of clear-skinned human.
Yeah.
I mean, he's very old, so the white hair could just be old man hair. He's just got beautiful white skin that you just didn't realize until this moment that that motherfucker might be something different.
Well, Borden, I truly appreciate you bringing us in and telling us what you know. I trust Tilbius is with you and he is okay.
Yes, if you'd like to leave someone here, we'll take care of him. So they call Tilbius up. Tilbius will come up. And the thing that's interesting, there's an odd little ritual that happens that you're actually a little bit nervous about. Because he bloodies his hand again, and he presses it onto Tilbius's forehead. And you see parts of Tilbius's body smoke. You see what can only be described as like smoke, like thick, dark curls of gray, and you smell charring flesh. And you see a bit of her kind of pant lay, like upper pant, lower shirt, catch on fire. And he bends over and blows it out. She will live. She will live.
Was he infected?
Yes.
And still is.
No, not anymore. The triune gods have burned it out. Sacrifice is what will save you in this world.
But how often do you have to do that?
Only if it becomes infected again. And within my walls, Tishrid has promised, no man or woman will be infected.
So if she was infected.
They'll actually lift up the shirt. You're going to see scorch marks. Like, not like the slight puckering like Decimus has. Like charred meat on a grill. Everywhere that the rot touches must be taken and cleansed. If you survive the cleansing, we keep you. If you don't survive the cleansing, we start a pyre and we drink for you. One last drink.
You do what has to be done.
The gods do it. I'm just a vessel for the next 9 months. Excuse me, 10 months. It's a 13-month calendar here. Sorry.
I
10 months.
10 more months before this door is wide open to whatever's here. But for the next 10 months, I will hold the wall.
So you've seen firsthand what this can do then up close.
We've seen many die.
What are the first signs we should be aware of?
The first signs happen underneath the clothing. The first signs happen where your skin never touches sunlight. It's funny, because it kind of happens in your nether regions. The places we don't like to talk about. But it's the place that never see day.
So I'm going to take off my shirt and do like a little self-inspection.
You look great. And he will actually take some of his blood again, and he'll push his hand up against your head. No smoke happens. You feel fine.
Okay.
I can find him very quickly.
Can you
I was saying I was helping her out.
Can you teach one of us how to do that? My friend here is an adherent of Set, and I'll tap Rogar on the back.
Is that something that's been
all right
among the power set?
So he's going to spend about an hour and a half with you, and he is going to teach you how to use your 5 points of your lay on hands to burn away the darkness.
Oh.
So just like you're the cure disease on your lay on hands, you will burn away the darkness.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
Your blood does not glow golden like his does when you touch your hands. So you do it just like you normally would, and you do a hit dice worth of damage to yourself to do it.
Okay.
So it is just like doing your normal lay on hands, but you have to do 1d10 damage to you.
All right. I will write this up.
Because it takes your blood to fuel it.
Okay. This work on just about anything we can see. So.
Yeah, and he says, it's a gift from the triune gods. And any of you guys who know religion know that those 3 gods particularly are kind of like the bread and butter of gods. They're like the easy peasy good guy gods. They're the ones that they have nightly orders dedicated to them. They are like your Templars. They are the ones that your average person would pray to.
I'm gonna look at Locke and say, hopefully, with Rogar's new ability, we won't ever have to do that again.
I'll warn you, some people don't survive the cleansing. And when they don't survive, Rogar,
Yes.
you will have cooked someone you love.
It's better than slitting their neck.
Not for them. At least that's what it sounds like. This is a very, very difficult world, gentlemen. There's nothing friendly about any of it. We just hope to save those that we can.
We wish you the best.
Yes.
And you.
I'm very grateful for this. Thank you so much.
The king has lost
That's
more
our-
control of the city than I think he realizes. The Sin Spire has been taken. I'm not saying that they ignore the king, but there's a small cabal there that run the merchants district. The Eye of the Storm has taken over the entire temple district, and people might say that I have taken over this district. I am still very loyal to my king. I would never do anything behind his back, but I have not seen his people in months. A week or two after things went bad, the king retreated and left us all on our own. When you talk to the Eye of the Storm, keep that in mind. He was abandoned. He didn't have much love for the king to start with, but he was left out on the island by himself.
I think we need to go to the Temple District.
Yes.
It is getting close to evening. If you'd like to stay here, you are clearly welcome to stay.
Sorry, what time? Isn't it around like 4 o'clock?
It took about 2 hours in between all the transit you did. So
Yeah.
2 hours to the merchant district, then about an hour to get where you needed to go and get maybe half an hour to get back. And then, it's probably about 4 or 5. It'll be another 2 hours to get to the
When is dusk?
dusk is
What-
going to be about 8.
I was saying, what time of the year is it? I have no idea.
It is actually close to the summer. So dusk is about 8 or 9.
Okay.
But you're close to 5 or 6. So you have a couple hours. By the time you get to the temple district, it'll be close to dusk. If you'd like to deal with that at the dusk time, you're more than welcome to, but you're also welcome to stay here.
I mean, I think we need to go.
Okay.
Would you
Yeah,
guys
I mean-
agree? I don't want to necessarily just say that and make the decision for the group.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like we can get there with an hour or two to spare, and
Yeah,
that
yeah.
doesn't seem like a necessarily terrible place to be when it gets dark.
No. At this point, you know that it is a well-fortified area, much like this spot is by itself.
And I mean, and assuming it doesn't take us more than like an hour, we can be back at sea before, when dusk happens.
Sure. And, I mean,
Possibly,
there's bound
yeah.
to be temples and things like that you can hole up in.
Yeah.
All right. So you guys get out of here okay. As you guys are walking out, you guys notice the walls themselves have some unique kind of religious carvings in the side that almost seem to be glowing with a faint blue. So Adalera glows bright white or yellow. Tishrid tends to glow blue. And Set tends to glow a silver. So you can kind of tell their magics are all upon this place. And all this is religious iconography that you did not see earlier. There has been a serious conversion with this man, this building, these people, everything here. You see a lot more people with kind of that lucky charm kind of shield around their neck as you're leaving. And Rogar, you're actually going to notice a couple people with a curled dragon around their neck as well. So the symbol is
gotcha.
set. Yeah.
Right.
Cool. You get back on the boat. The Ram's like, brah, was it great? Yeah? Sweet. All right, let's go. He hauls ass, and you're able to get over to the religious quarter.
So, when we get to the religious quarter, is there an obvious temple to...
Are you trying to sneak in, or are you going to go in through the normal kind of spot?
I mean,
There's clearly a wharf that's open for traffic. You can see boats almost lined up and circling, trying to get in.
I mean, I feel like we try the front door first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Locke, what do you think? You're the best.
It looks like we have to stand in line.
Ah, brah, I'll just go up to the front line. It'll be fine. Watch out. Hold on.
We've got a good boat. I think we can cut in line.
So you guys do have a boat that is a smuggler's ship.
Ram's
This is
got us
about as
covered.
nimble a boat as you can find outside of the magical boat that you guys missed out on. So this,
By you guys, you mean, doesn't it?
I mean the party at the other end of my headphones. But the Ram seemingly possibly struck dumb for a while, is missing all these yells and commotions and these signals from other boats, things like that. He is plowing forward, dodging around people, and he's just waving at people. Just a happy, smiling wave. So some people are incredibly irate. People are throwing up very lewd gestures. And the rabbit is just like, hey, bud, yeah! A lot of wink and gun.
How
Stuff
you
like
doing?
that. But he does
you
get you
doing?
right to the front of the line. And nobody has actually shot at you. So,
That's good.
It's a good sign.
yeah, you guys are there and get to the dock, and there are about 30 priests of various denominations. And by various, I mean damn near every single denomination you've ever heard of and a couple you haven't heard of.
Any of set.
Yeah, sure, definitely. You find one set.
I mean, there has to be at least one.
He's a big deal.
Let's make sure Rogar has the letter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, you're kind of showing off your holy symbol and kind of your paladin-ness. So the set guy will kind of come over to you guys. The set guy is a giant dwarf. And it sounds ridiculous, but we're talking like 5'4", like fucking dwarf. We're talking damn near human in height and damn near human width in our height and width. This is a blockade of an individual. Hey, can I help you?
We need to speak to. Oh, I'm spacing on the name. Sorry.
I have the storm.
I have the storm. Yeah. Sorry about that.
Eye of the Storm, hey. He's not always interested in visitors, but
You'll be interested in us.
you look trustworthy. He starts mumbling something. He kind of seems to cast a spell. All right, you all look healthy. You actually look damn healthy. Good for you. Good for you. It's nice to see robust lads like you are. So, do you have payment?
What sort of payment?
We normally look for food, specifically to keep the poor fed. We are not a for-profit island. Everything we take goes to the people. If you don't have food, coin always works. Services, things of that nature. You ask for the Eye of the Storm, it's a big ask. May I ask who sends you?
King Nicodemus.
I?
Who has the parchment, by the way?
I have the
No
parchment.
shite.
But we come on
I'm gonna.
We understand that's
I'm
not
gonna
the greatest
nudge.
of
I'm
terms.
gonna nudge Rogar and
Well,
like.
fuck me twice and
Frank.
call me Sally the King.
We understand. It's quite a shock.
I'm gonna try and get Rogar to show the parchment.
Yeah, I'm showing the parchment. I was under the impression that I hadn't shown it yet. But we also have this.
Fucking credentials. Commander Jacob as well. Might as well be
Correct.
sent from the fucking Almighty.
like I
All
said,
right.
higher
They're
authority.
next on the list.
Oh, the wit of this one. One of my brethren indeed. He kind of slaps you on the shoulder. He goes, come with me. We'll get you in front of the eye.
I'm gonna mumble something about knowing a guy with food, and then remember that Jack's not here. Baby bird.
That would be nice.
All right, so he's going to take you up to the front of a palatial temple covered in palm trees, beautiful open air, gorgeous. The building is made out of all white marble or bone. You're really not sure from here, but it is the whitest white you have seen. And it has what must be lapis lazuli kind of inlays, giving you kind of a blue holy script all the way around the building. None of you guys are particularly proficient with Tempest, but your guess is the entire Bible is written around this building in kind of a circular fashion, like over and over again. So very, very interesting, very cool. The architecture is huge, kind of Spanish in nature, kind of stucco and stuff like that kind of vibe, but it's all actual marble. It's got a lot of those awnings, a lot of that. And as far as you can tell, the roof is all made out of beautiful, bright blue sea something or other. It looks like maybe shells even. It has kind of a opalescent kind of vibe to it. It seems to reflect the sun itself and kind of add to the brightness of the building. And in the very center is a large glass dome. Large glass dome sits somewhere here in the darkness, but the large glass dome is easily 50, 60 feet up in the air. And the glass is seamless as far as you can tell from here. It looks like it's literally a bubble made out of glass, unlike anything you've ever seen before. Huge doors with big iron inlay sit in front. It says, "Those who fear the storm best not enter." And that's where we'll close out today. Sorry about my work stuff, but we'll start you right off
fine.
here, seeing the Eye of the Storm next 2 weeks from now.
Oh man,
Awesome.
That was
heavy.
That was heavy.
that was a roller coaster of emotion.
Sometimes the world collapses around you guys.
Yeah, a lot of this happened.
I wanna nominate tonight. I want to nominate Steve for suggesting that we throw the guy out the window. That was awesome.
My epic nomination goes to Rick for slitting the throat. I think that created such a really cool scene. It was just awesome.
You brought the darkness very well, Mr. Davenport.
Yeah, that was truly a chilling scene, and that was awesome for the story. I also want to throw a nod out to Decimus for the whole. I totally spaced on even thinking of asking for Set to provide anything of those powers for trying to do that sort of purification of this disease. It's going to be massively
Anytime
helpful.
stuff pops up, guys, ask me for stuff like that. There's a lot of people out here that are willing to teach you some shit. And I am excited to give out things that NPCs can do to you guys. You guys are like NPCs on steroids. There's not an NPC out there that should best you. So if an NPC can do it, and it
Fair
fits
enough.
into some part of your wheelhouse, I will probably give you a way to make it happen.
And that way that Rogar can cure the ick will come in super handy.
Yeah, I feel we're going to be in a situation where that's definitely going to be needed. So that was super helpful. I didn't even cross my mind. I'm glad you thought of it.
Steve, do you have a nomination?
Yeah, actually, I want to nominate Locke for the whole Decimus and Locke thing.
All right, we will actually give both you two guys, because I was going to say Locke did a great job on the other side.
Both
Yeah.
sides were pretty.
That was a nice back and forth. That was pretty
It's
amazing.
not easy to be mad at somebody in game. It's almost as hard as being a dick to somebody for being a dick when you know they're not really a dick. So I will say next game you guys both start off with some inspiration.
Sweet.
Very well played on both your
Nice.
parts. I loved all of it. We got about 3 or 4 more games. I think it'll be 4 more games before we are done and over to Rick. So we will definitely be leaving you guys in the middle of some shit.
Yeah, and also just for everyone, I appreciate you playing along tonight, because I feel like this whole session was kind of going to my backstory, and you guys dealt with it. So thanks.
Anytime, man. If we're
it was
calling
great.
out backstory, it's I like it. I mean, that's the way it gives us some opportunities to really explore some cool shit.
Yeah.
I was thrilled to do some RP. We've done some very, very combat heavy lately stuff, so I was happy to have a fairly RP laden game. So good job, guys.